9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Alien Pro Podcast. It's December 3rd, 2022. I'm Doug, and joined again today is Dr. Bill. It's been a bit, Bill. It's been longer than it seems because we pre-recorded some stuff. So how's it going in sunny Florida? Is it sunny over there?
Yes. It's been 2 weeks.
It's rain.
2 weeks since we did this.
Rainy.
Longer?
Well, we did. Now, we did Kennedy, the JFK thing with. I did it with Mopar Kevin last week. He came up. We didn't wait for you and Robert. Robert said he wanted. We may do one
Hey,
within the future, but Robert was in the midst of moving,
he was traveling.
so
He's traveling, I thought. He was
yeah,
driving back.
yeah, he was.
Okay. Yeah,
He
let's
was
do
in
it.
the midst of moving, so we didn't. We'll do another one that's us. And Kevin has Discord. He just likes to drive up there for some reason.
Oh, yeah, that's
It's
great. Let's
fine.
do it. Let's do it in the future. I have a book on sort of forensic analysis of the Kennedy JFK assassination, and I would
Okay.
love to, if you guys can plan ahead.
Yeah.
I'd love to get through that book to add especially there's a chapter on blood splatter analysis.
Blood spatter.
Blood splatter
analysis.
I would love to talk about that chapter. It would be awesome to discuss
Anyhow,
that.
we'll get Robert. Robert, it's his one of his favorite.
Let's do
Of
it.
course, he wants to. Yeah, he wants to do simulation theory too. Everybody's fighting to do
Oh yeah, I don't
that.
care about
I
that.
haven't looked into that. I know the theory, but I don't know
We
I don't know if there is a nuts and bolts
we are
thing.
we are
But
living
it's
in
got.
a simulation. We are a VR
No,
world.
this isn't real. This
Yeah,
isn't real.
it's
None of
not
this
real.
is real.
None of it.
It's some children are playing. Some alien children are playing a game, and they
Video.
made up some Earth figures, and they're doing things. Of course, the Earth's flat too. Did you hear Flat Earth Girl's got her 3rd episode up?
Oh, is it?
Vimeo.
Oh yeah, let's
Yeah,
do it.
she just
Let's
put it up.
it's up
Shelley
now.
Lewis.
It's up now.
Yeah, it's up now. We're gonna have to watch it for next week, and
Let's do it next week.
we'll
Yeah.
check it out.
Yeah. So does she
Flat Earth Girl.
dress the
I didn't watch it
you
yet.
didn't watch it, so
Didn't
we won't
watch it
discuss.
yet.
We don't have anything to discuss.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll watch it this week and talk about it next Saturday. But I still find it fascinating.
I love
It's
it.
the one episode that I point to that, when people say, "Oh, I want to listen to your podcast," it was one of the, an interesting guest because she came on and was probably one of our most famous, the most famous guests we've ever had on here. So it was interesting to do.
Yeah, it's I'm looking forward to it. I was looking at photos of the Artemis mission, and they're showing pictures of the Earth. And if you look at the pictures of the Earth, it's a flat disk in the photos. So flat disk. Yeah, let's check. I want to see it. I want to check it out. We'll do that
Yeah.
next week.
If you look at it like that, yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
It's an interesting concept. So this week, we've got a couple of interesting, the moon bases, alien moon bases. And what's the moon made? The interesting facts about the moon. I don't know. I sent them to you. I don't know.
It's made of cheese. The moon is made of cheese.
It's
That's what
over
I-
1 billion years older than the Earth. Do you believe that?
No, it's not true.
No.
No.
This article
They-
stating that the Earth is hollow, or excuse me, the moon is hollow.
The
I
Earth
think
is-
the Earth's somewhat hollow
The
too.
Earth is hollow too. Like
That the alien. There's a couple of different things that they discuss that the moon was actually brought here by. I don't know if this article's, but we're talking about the moon. That it was brought here by an alien civilization, and it's hollow, and their planet was probably dying, and they put all their provisions and their people and things, and they found Earth, and so they stuffed everybody in this moon that's fake. It's a sphere, and they brought it and put it into orbit around the Earth. So then, then they they flew, presumably, to the Earth and populated the Earth, and that's going to kind of lead into the All right, Denis. How do you pronounce it? The Denis. You're gonna make me suffer with it, aren't you?
What?
It's
The
the
Denisovans.
Denisovans, and this is an article. Okay, so that's the lead in. Where did were they here eons ago before humans,
Who? The
or did
Denisovans?
no the
The
aliens
aliens?
on where I'm segueing into the moon coming from
Moon.
another universe it through a black. I mean, this is one of the, I don't want to say a story. This is something that somebody's thinking would happen.
A
They pulled the
generation.
Earth, and it,
A generation. Is the moon a hollow generation ship?
yeah. So, and it's interesting because the moon, and we'll go into the Denisovians in a minute, but the moon actually, and I looked at some of the facts here, it actually blocks the sun out perfectly. It's the
Yes.
perfect size
Perfect size.
to block the sun out. Did you ever think of that? It's not bigger or smaller.
Well,
It
it's
blocks the sun out when it's a eclipse.
what makes it perfect is that it's exactly the same size as the sun, so you can see the
No, it's
solar
just that
the solar
relation.
corona,
It was
the size relationship. You can see the solar
it's
corona
yeah,
for
it's
the
we
alignment.
obviously the sun is much larger, but you don't
Is it?
find it
Is it?
fascinating that it exactly fits when we have an eclipse, it fits the sun exactly.
Yeah. That's really cool.
And but it's a weird concept.
It
I don't
is.
know that I ran a Denisovian as long as now the Denisovians,
Denisovians.
were they inject or were they were found, and they mated with the Cro
Neanderthals.
Cro-Magnon Neanderthals.
Neanderthals.
And then the Denisovians were actually looked very modern, like,
They
you
don't
know.
they don't know what they look like. They have no idea what the Denisovians look
How'd
like.
they pick at that picture? Did you look on there? Didn't they find a skull?
No,
Or are they
there's
just
no
looking at
skull. It's
DNA?
like teeth. There's some teeth. There's like a bone.
There's a picture. There's some pictures on
Yeah,
there.
I'm
Did
sure
they
there's a
just
picture.
somebody guessed?
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure
That
there's
means
a
it's
lot of
true.
pictures. Yeah, it's real. I saw it on the internet. It's true. Um, yeah, that
All
one
right, I
fact,
retract that comment.
the one fact, I retract. The one fact about the thing about the moon being exactly the right size for a solar eclipse is a really cool thing. But yeah, the question is, why would they do that? Why would you position the sun exactly like that? What's the purpose of that? And then you have, because the solar eclipse, it's not like it covers the whole planet. It just covers like a swath on the surface of the planet when it happens. So why would you do that? I mean, unless it was like for religious reasons or just fun. It's like, hey, I have a great idea. If we do this, this will happen and it'll be really cool. So,
Yeah, but
but I
it's
don't know.
odd that
It
it
is. It is an amazing.
precisely covers the sun when there's an eclipse. That the sun isn't like a lot bigger or
It's
smaller
it's an
in
amazing.
relationship. So
It's an amazing phenomena.
yeah,
So,
okay. So just to make it easier for the listeners, so the segue is that there was this thing possibly is hollow. Now, in one of the secret space UFOs in the beginning is on Amazon, and they talk about
is this the show
they
that
yeah, did you watch it? It's like 85 minutes.
it
It's on
was?
Amazon.
I watched Aliens and Astronauts on the Moon UFO Encounters. That was a YouTube video you
Yeah,
sent me. That was it.
yeah,
I
that
watched
too.
I watched the right
Yeah,
show. Okay, all right.
yeah. So one of the things is they did something where when they took off, they dropped a portion of the. I thought that with the limb, the top part of it just kind of came off and shot in.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So they said
They
they dropped
dropped.
something back to the surface, and it made like a
It might have been the limb.
reverberating gong noise. But they don't drop. They're in the limb.
It might have been the top part of the limb.
That's what they're in though when they should take.
Yeah,
Oh,
but they
you mean
get
another
out of
piece
it.
of it?
they get out of it. They jettison that once they board into the capsule, and then they return to Earth. And so
Oh, it's not. It doesn't stay attached. They get
it
rid of
did
it.
stay it did stay attached in Apollo 13 because they
Right,
were
because they
using it
never
as a
landed.
lifeboat.
Yeah.
And
So it goes back.
normally they would get rid of it before they left the moon. They're not going to leave it attached to the Apollo
Okay.
command capsule
So,
and the module,
all right.
the larger component.
Okay, so that makes sense. So anyway, this thing hits the moon, and they actually hear, they say,
Hear it,
like a bell
gong,
almost,
gong.
like it bong, bong.
Well, the seismographs. That's how I think Armstrong described it. Says it was like ringing like a gong, and I think that was just the wave propagating and returning, around the moon. So
Right. Well, that's just another theory, and also um, pictures of
pictures,
things which
pictures of
are
things.
anomalous. Let's say there's one thing. There's the spire, or is it the spire? It's like a small tower sticking up. Obviously, this is on the dark side. Excuse me, the back side of the moon, which, as we all know, the moon doesn't rotate. It's in, what is it called? Wait, tidal lock.
Tidal
It
lock,
doesn't.
yeah.
It, it doesn't
Well,
spin
technically the moon does rotate, but it rotates at a pace where its face
with
is
our.
always facing the moon. So it is rotating, but it just rotates exactly, its rotation
Yeah.
matches its orbit.
So what we're looking at is always the same
Yeah, so
thing.
we always see the face of the moon. We can actually see a
But
little
we
more.
never see the backside. Nobody sees the backside, do
We
they?
can actually
Until
see.
you go back there.
I think we can actually see about 50% of the moon because it's at a slight angle, so there's a slight tilt.
Right.
Yeah. So the backside of the moon wasn't seen for the first time until the Russians sent a craft to photograph it, which is why most of the craters, the big craters on the backside of the moon, all have Russian names.
Oh,
Is it?
there's a spire, which is a tower. The
Well,
other
well,
tower is a little bit unbelievable.
I looked up what do they call it? The stake. This. There was
The big one, they say, is like 13 miles high.
Yeah, there's no pictures of that.
There's a block. Yeah, there's vague
The
pictures.
shard.
I tried looking at
They call it the shard.
the shard.
The
Yeah.
shard, I had to look that up, and the original photo doesn't show anything like that. And the guy that was saying there was something weird did like photo enhancement where you enlarge and sharpen like you do on Photoshop.
Right.
So the thing that I saw just said that there's like a something on the image that when you do that, it sort of blows it up, and you can't really
Right.
tell. And then, but when you raise a lot of questions about the moon, we haven't explored the moon that much. We've been there we made a few visits and sent a few probes, but the shard is a photo anomaly, looks like, and the tower, I couldn't find any pictures or any information on it other than
It's got, like, they're saying it's blocks. It's built.
I need
But
photos.
it's a structure, and the photos are shitty, and they're, of course,
Photos are all
you know,
shitty.
and they don't. He said they're 13. It's some crazy height, like 13 miles. It's like, well, we wouldn't see that
Throwing stuff
somehow
around.
with all the shit we send up there.
Yeah, there's lots of. I got.
And what about, and Artemis is? I assume Artemis is. I don't know what its orbit was, a singular orbit, or if it went all over the place
I'm not sure. I haven't
and
followed
looked
it.
at things.
I
Well, they
haven't.
always, how they make pictures of the moon is like a bunch of squares that they stick together. They take one picture and then another picture, and they stick them together.
That's the old way, the old-fashioned way of doing it.
I think they're still doing it like that.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of. We have lots
Do you have
of
a picture of the spire?
No, they mentioned where
The shard.
the shard and the tower. They've mentioned where they were, but a lot of these things, we have lots of good photographs of the moon. We have lots of good photographs of the moon. So I think anything anomalous would come up. But that article or that show did mention, I think it was the show or the article, I can't remember which, did mention that that NASA had a back channel to the Apollo capsules. And I find that interesting because it was supposed to be all open channel stuff. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a back channel just in case of a private channel
of
for the
this.
of
Well, there
an
was some discussion about what they saw. I mean, there's
yeah.
allegedly there was flying saucers around a crater, and
I know.
there's structures, and like you said, you can't really see. Now you know more about this than I do. Why can't you just get a powerful telescope and just look onto the surface? Why is that not
It's
possible?
done all the
Just look at.
time. Done all the time.
Oh, okay. I thought we were thinking that you can't just look right down. Like you can't look at the flags that we put there. Can
I
you
don't
see
think you can
those?
see it. I don't think the resolution is high enough. You could point the space web
It,
or the Hubble at it. They could probably image a centimeter on the moon or smaller. So the yeah, it's and the bigger telescopes. I don't know what the resolution is of the bigger telescopes. That would actually be really cool. They're always looking at stars and stuff. So uh,
it's yeah. I would like. It'd be interesting to see. Are you just so you're saying the resolution is what prevents you from seeing anything in any great detail on the surface?
yeah, there's
That's
gonna
why we
be
can't
there's
see the buildings.
yeah, it's gonna
Well,
be
of
a
course they're on
it's
the
gonna
backside, I guess. I don't know.
there's
But they
gonna be a
landed
limit. There's gonna be a limit.
when we landed on the moon, where they were on the portion of the moon that we could see, right? I mean,
Yeah,
land on
yeah,
the back.
yeah.
So, I mean, if there's structures, it's just weird that somebody on Earth, because people have money all the time, here around here. So you'd think somebody would make something that could see if there was something weird in the side we could see.
Unless it's being
You know,
covered up. The
yeah, it makes more sense that it'd be in the back if somebody was trying to hide something. But the
the
theory is this shit is old,
so we
really old.
all know 2001 is Space Odyssey. The moon is as old as the
Yeah,
Earth in the solar system. I was looking around. I couldn't find any what they were talking about. Were saying that the moon was a million years older than the Earth. I couldn't find anything on that.
billion. It's
But
a
yeah,
billion
a
years old.
year older than the Earth. I couldn't find anything. I didn't look that hard. Um, Arthur C. Clarke. We all know 2001: A Space Odyssey with the obelisk on the moon. And that speculation was Arthur C. Clarke was like, if there was going to be an alien artifact, the moon is a great place to put it because we're not going to discover it until we go to the moon and explore. So I would say that there's a possibility that alien artifacts would be found on the moon because it's a great place to put something if to wait for a species like us to evolve enough for space flight to okay, now you've gotten out of your planet. Here's like the obelisk was some sort of transmitter to a more advanced civilization. Here's a thing that you're not alone. I think that's a possibility, but who knows? But the moon's a tough, tough, tough place. I mean, it's the whole surface is covered with craters, micro craters down to the microscopic level. There's the regolith is just a churn of impact material that's been blasted out and re-aggregated. You
Yeah,
can dig down and get to bedrock. There's basaltic bedrock, which is from volcanic stuff, but it's not like the Earth. There's no atmosphere to burn up the meteors, and then the Earth is constantly the because of tectonic plates and the movement of the crust and things like that. We're constantly being eroded, but the moon is just there. So that's the whole history of you look at the moon and you see all the craters, especially on the backside. The Earth has been bombarded as much as the moon.
oh yeah, it's a lot bigger.
Yeah, and as many meteors and holes and stuff, but this all eroded away. Um,
But there's documented back channel. I don't know if they're back channel radio things, all the way back to the X1 or X15, where they went in there and they're here. They made the statement, and it was documented that they're here, and
the X-15 is
you know,
the spy plane, isn't it?
no, that's the one that they launch off the bottom of a B-52, and then it shoots up to
Oh yeah, yeah,
300,000
yeah.
feet.
The what was
Yeah,
his
it's the
name?
X-15.
Jaeger.
Major White was this one that was in the video I saw, and
He said he
he
saw
got up
something.
into the upper atmosphere, and that they're here, and it was not a made up thing. I
Yeah,
mean, he
yeah,
saw something when he was the upper atmosphere. But back to the moon,
yeah.
there's in one of the Apollo missions, they have a hatch that's on top that they hardly ever use. You can actually climb out of the top of the thing, and then
That's the docking. That's the
there's
docking hatch at the top.
yeah,
Then there's
so
the
they can open it.
egress hatch on the side, but the docking hatch is for docking with
Yeah,
the
egress where they climb out is like 6 feet off the ground or
mm-hmm.
whatever amount of feet. So, but they don't really use the top hatch much. But in this case, there was a script of what they were talking about with Houston, and they were talking about what they saw, and then it was a big blank where they blacked it all out, where because they went through the hatch, but according to Houston's records, they never went through that hatch. And it was kind of interesting because I think they saw something because you're really high up.
Uh-huh.
And it's like almost like they opened it up. I don't think they cared about what hatch they used. But,
I don't know.
Why did they go and what did they see? Allegedly they've seen structures and, I of course want to
Well,
believe that, but
I
I
would
don't
I would
know.
I would have to see more documentation about that stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things that people exaggerate. Oh, I'm just making that worse. I'm trying to deal with this light. All right, I need to stop. The sun's
Well,
coming
you would
in.
think with Artemis, because the next Artemis mission that's kind of why we segued from Artemis to the moon.
Yeah, yeah.
I kind of wanted to go over as we could follow, because we'll be following Artemis over the next 2 missions also, assuming
2
the
years.
next one gets off the ground.
2 years. Oh yeah, I sent
You-
you video of the Chinese launch.
Yes.
Which
Yeah,
was
they just launch. They don't,
well, the Chinese do like the SpaceX uses liquid oxygen and liquid methane.
Yeah.
And so the SpaceX and the Chinese launches, you don't have all this steam billowing around from the liquid hydrogen, and you don't have like that stack which is burning flame from the hydrogen burn off from the thing. So it's like our launches
Yeah.
are really dramatic with like all this steam and smoke, and then off to the side you have that stack that's got this big flame burning
off the
off all.
excess hydrogen.
Yeah. And you look at SpaceX or you look at a Chinese launch, it's just a rocket just sitting there. It just sits there. There's no smoke and there's no flame. And then they don't have the problems where you have to send a crew in with torque wrenches to tighten crap down just before launch.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what happens when
Yeah, it was
you go
interesting.
surplus. When you go surplus.
Well, this one made it off. I was wrong.
It's good.
Now I was
Good.
wrong. It
Good
made it,
jo-
and I'm
good
glad
job.
it made it.
Good job.
I'm really worried about the one with people in it. And when the next one is going to be with people, but they're not going to land, right? They're just going to go and do what this one's doing. Only there's going to be people in it.
Is the next one just an orbit, or are they landing?
No, the next one they're going to do what they're doing on this, I believe.
The same. I haven't.
They're doing the same thing that Artemis 1 is doing, but it's going to be manned.
But they're not.
Be manned.
They're not doing it. Okay, so they're doing the cautious route. They'll go and they'll do a circumlunar thing and then come back. Oh, that's okay. That's all right. And then the next one
that will
be a landing.
We can do 20 Gemini missions in like 18 months, but with that technology, but we have to wait years. Look at the turnaround for SpaceX. They just keep launching.
Week. It's like a week for SpaceX.
They just keep launching. In the meantime, it's going to be another. When's Artemis 2 going?
2 years.
Another 2 years.
And then
it's like I hope we live long enough to see 3.
They're gonna the Russians and the Chinese are gonna have a city on the moon.
They're gonna have a base. They're gonna have a city there, and we're still trying to figure out what we're gonna do.
They'll be going, what's taking them so long? But yeah, they're talking about soon, like within the next couple of years. So 2 or 3 years, it's a definite race. So, and they'll claim
their rockets just fall back. They're when they stage, and the old
Yeah,
stage falls off with all the fuel. They just let it fall, and I don't know if
they
you saw
know
it.
they
One
know
was
where
sticking in the ground.
they know where it's
They
gonna
let it fall to Earth.
they know where it's gonna
Why?
fall. They know where it's gonna
Well, they
fall.
let it fall in a city then because it fell on the fucking road and stuck in there.
Which road?
I don't know which road it was.
Well, what are you gonna
It was
do?
a
You're gonna sue
Chinese
them?
road.
You're gonna
Wasn't us.
you're gonna sue them?
Well, the Chinese don't care. They don't care if somebody gets killed. I mean, it's not like us where
The
if
probably
one person gets injured, that it's drama.
yeah.
But over there, it's like, I killed 100 people. So what? It's the name of science.
Yeah, we don't care. We care if someone gets. We don't care if someone gets killed. My kid said I should watch Generation Kill on HBO Max, which is about Marine recon in Iraq in the second Iraqi War. And oh my God, I got the book. I think I read the book when it first came out, but that's like 17 years ago. And
Is it acted or are they
the show is acted. One of the guys in the show is actually one of the Marines that was actually there. Rudy Reyes, I think it was. He played himself in the HBO show. But the Marine Recon, these guys they're not doing it on purpose, but well, who knows? The U.S. killed thousands of civilians in Iraq. It's like I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's watching this show is like yeah, it's terrible. It's like I hear if somebody breaks a fingernail, it can shut down the space program, but we can go overseas, and it's like we don't care about what happens there.
Yeah.
So
well, we wait so freaking long to do it. Is it really going to take this long to build the next Artemis?
Apparently it is.
It's like, Musk could build some from nothing in 6 months probably.
Yeah.
And we're we play around with.
They're readapting 50-year-old technology. So like I said,
it just
the
seems
engines
harder to do it that way than it would be just to build something brand new.
Really, but they have to follow what Congress tells them to do. They're using the old engines from the space shuttle. They're using the booster rockets. It's the friends and family program that I talk about all the time. They are making sure that the friends and family people stay in the loop, and that's why they're requiring the old tech to be used, just to keep the money flowing.
Yeah, they're reusing the space shuttle engines, that they could save.
It's 40, 50-year-old tech.
But they're going to run out because there was only a finite amount of those.
They're going to build the old models. They just keep building the old crap. It's like Musk is like refining. His engines are constantly being refined and updated. It's like NASA's using 50-year-old technology. Why not?
Yeah, they're going to have to go to. We're out of motors, so they're going to go to Smithsonian and unbolt the engines off the old shuttle.
They're going to pay whoever makes them to remake them. That's probably why it's taken so long, is because these guys have to learn how to remake these engines, which these contractors are going, well, we threw all that crap away. So they got to remake all the machinery to make the parts for the rocket engines or something. If you look into this in any great detail, people would be crapping their pants because they're going to go, why are they doing it this way? And it's just like they're wasting. Yeah, they're wasting billions of dollars, rebuilding the infrastructure that they just threw away 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So if they actually had inspector generals working for the public, they would be looking at that and going, this is just wasteful. They're doing this ass backwards the whole way.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Well, there will maybe be a launch in 2 years, and they will send a woman and a person of color around the moon, which is what NASA keeps saying.
Well, the engines can be remade. Aerojet made the other ones, the original ones, and they're still around. I said made them here, but there's an Aerojet in Florida, so I lied.
Okay.
Really lied.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, there might be both states.
Aerojet made the engines. I remember I used to work over there, and you could hear them test. I don't know if it was these engines or they even did the Atlas V.
Yeah.
So they would test those things over there, and
you could hear them.
Yeah, I could hear them. They were right across this large field from where I worked, and it was pretty fascinating. But they could make new engines. If they still want to stick with that. I don't know why Musk, but they keep insisting in using these hydrogen, powered engines.
Like mandated by Congress. It was mandated that they stick with this technology.
It seems so much more dangerous.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It is. Yeah.
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 I mean,
Hydrogen is
maybe they're more powerful or something. I don't know.
hydrogen's a more efficient fuel, but I don't know. You build a more efficient engine. I don't know.
So
I
we
don't know.
use technology. We use old technology with dangerous propellant.
It's all
It just seems a
dangerous.
recipe for exact. Well, it's all dangerous, but it's
Yeah.
much more dangerous than Musk, who used what's he using? Well, these
Musk uses liquid oxygen and liquid methane, I think. I
so he
might have
doesn't have any solid fuel at all.
no
Because the shuttle, I think, still has the big things on the side that fall off.
solid four
The,
solid
I think
fuel
that's solid fuel
boosters.
to,
The
for boosting.
the Chinese did too. And for a moon mission, you need a minimum three-stage rocket, and you solve that by having boosters, and then they're doing 2 stages. So instead of having a third stage, you attach boosters on the side. So that's why this one I don't think is I haven't looked at the design, which is why we have boosters on the Artemis, is because to get rid of the you don't have to have the third stage scenario like we used to have with the Apollo.
I'm projecting by the time they get to Artemis 3, assuming they're naming them 1, 2, 3. I'm not sure. The one where we're landing, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they're going to use another type of technology by then.
No,
They're going to figure out that this isn't
no,
good.
no. I say no. I say it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
I say they should.
the friends and family program is too strong.
Yeah,
It's too strong. It's not gonna allow it to happen. I can guarantee that.
Okay. Well, now we have it on. Now we have
on tape.
recorded. We're going to
Hey.
see. Of course, I said the other. This is what I know. I said the other one wouldn't make it, and it did. So maybe it's
it took
fine.
how long did it take
Yeah,
them to
I don't know.
launch? I mean, they had to roll it out how many times? And
Like 3 times or
yeah,
something.
this is crazy.
I mean, it just doesn't. It's not like the Chinese. Okay, launch.
Get in there.
Like you said, hey, what's the difference? Because
Get
they
in
use
there.
new stuff. I'm assuming they don't use used stuff.
No, it's
They
all.
use-
I mean, and they're probably using Russian motors, which are we didn't even have a space program for like 20 years. We were being launched by Russian until SpaceX came along. We are being launched by Russian rockets to get to our space station. And
we use their stuff.
yeah,
to go up.
yeah, we had no space program for like 20 years. No launch capability for manned space flight. It was all Russian technology, which is
Well,
also
seems like we're only going to the moon because they are. I mean, we didn't even care until the Chinese are going.
we don't have to go. The Chinese are going to build. China and Russia are going to build a base. They're going to build it in the southern hemisphere of the moon. They're going to build it near Shackleton crater where there is ice, and either we can do it or we can watch them do it. That's just the way it is. They're going to the moon and probably Mars after that. And we can sit around. And that's one of the questions that I have is why did we abandon the space program in 1972? I mean, why did we just walk away? And it's like they had the speaking of UFOs, they had the UFO report came out, so there's no such thing as UFOs, and then we abandoned our space program. It's like coincidence. So it's just like
Because the moon is their base.
their base. We can't use
We're not
the
going
moon.
back there. There's a lot of crap we don't want to deal with up there, and they
I
told
know.
us get out and don't come back.
Get out and don't come back. I don't know. I just wonder about the timing of those two.
Well, interesting.
So the aliens and astronauts on the moon UFO encounters was interesting, and I like the way they did. They like wrote a script, had a narrator, and then they just used stock footage for everything. Do you remember that UFO show that was on Netflix that came out about the same time as the J.J. Abrams UFO show on?
They made the cheaper version of a good one.
Yeah, it was like,
Is
and
it
then they
that
had
one?
like really bad
Yeah.
CGI, and well, this show had really bad CGI too, really bad CGI, and then the 5 basic UFO stories that you hear constantly over and over again. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's like you can knock this crap out that easy, just a narration, a script, a narration and stock footage, and then you sell it to National Geographic or something. But
Yeah,
they had,
and then make some money, make a little money
yeah,
while you're at it.
yeah, yeah. They,
It's kind of like that new UFO deal in Davis, California that I sent you. It's kind of like it's
oh,
all stuff we've seen.
is
You know,
this, what was that?
it's a little I don't want to say a store. It's like a museum almost of UFO Roswell. I'm sure it doesn't have any real product in it. We're gonna go.
Oh,
I'm gonna
yeah.
drag Debbie to see
Hey,
it, and it's
take photos. Take photos. Send me photos. I want to see what's going
I
on.
will. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I mean, it popped up on Facebook because they advertised on Rockland MUFON
Oh,
that I'm a member of.
you got free tickets. Is that what the
I
picture
don't
you
know.
sent?
Is it?
Says this
Yeah, they
free.
got free tickets,
Oh, they
but
got
I'll
free tickets.
pay.
Oh,
I'll
yeah, it
just
doesn't
pay.
matter. It doesn't matter.
You
I was
know,
just saying, oh, that's cool. You got a free ticket. Yeah,
no,
yeah. Send
it's
me.
it's worth whatever. I'll just go in there and I'll drop them some cards off so they can listen to what we
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about,
yeah. Hey, what?
and
Yeah,
the
one.
local shared interest.
Yeah, one of the things I watched a interview with Leslie Kean yesterday on the UFO podcast, which is by a Scottish guy, and she mentioned that there was a conference. Oh, nice interview if you get a chance to see it. But she mentioned that there was a conference in Manhattan today, which is called, they say, an intimate conference series continues in the heart of New York City. An inquiry into anomalous experiences and the phenomena, day 2, which is today. It's happening right now. Oh, it's like 7 hours. And
And they're going to talk about UFOs for 7 hours.
anomalous
Is anything new?
experiences. I don't know. I didn't.
Something
I'm not
new
going to
we don't
buy.
know.
I'm not going to do the tickets. I would have. I saw it yesterday, and we had
I'm
this.
not paying for that.
Yeah,
I
I might have, but it was too quick. I just heard about it yesterday, and I'm like, I don't have. I'm not going to do it. But it's got Christopher
There will be a
Mellon.
review, and if someone, if they state that something was revealed that we don't already know,
Yeah,
it might be interesting to listen to. But we've done these things. Remember the NASA? We listened to a couple of NASA, you know, um, reveals
kind of
about what they're
itchy.
going to be doing.
Um,
Yeah.
well,
So, they turn out to be very dry and
yeah,
uninformative,
yeah.
basically.
The UFO report that's supposed to be presented to Congress still hasn't been presented. We're waiting on that.
It'll be nothing like it always
Nothing.
is.
It'll be the same.
Heavily redacted. And here's stuff we can't tell the public.
Yes,
That
because
we're here to tell stuff to the public, and then it's going to be, well, they released everything they could, but this stuff they can't tell
we
the
can't.
public.
Our
What
tech.
the hell is it?
We can't talk about it. Our tech is too high tech, and if we even mention what we saw, it will
Yeah.
reveal
Because we don't want
secrets.
you to know that we, filmed it on a FLIR that we already know that.
We don't know what that. We don't want you to know what that technology is. It's too secret,
Yeah,
top secret.
like nobody knows.
Nobody, no, the tech. We got super secret tech. We'll give it
Nobody in the
away.
public knows about that stuff.
We'll give it away. What did they see? I just saw a thing yesterday or day before. There's like two Navy ships, almost ran into each other down near Coronado.
Yeah, I saw that.
Isn't that crazy? Just like how we don't know how to steer these things. So
Yeah, it was down in San Diego, wasn't it?
yeah,
It was
yeah,
close by.
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's some of the things that go on in the military. Well, you were in the you and I both were in the military, and we both seen stupid shit.
Oh, well, I was watching Generation Kill, and it just like I was having a hard time because it was like it just reminded me of all the crap that you have to put up with and you watch when you're in the military. And then all the civilian deaths were bothering me too. Oh, God.
Yeah, it's people say, I don't understand. My son was in training, and he, got injured. You can't understand how that happens.
Can't understand.
You really can't understand how that
You
happens.
can't understand, physical hard physical activity and
It's
running.
dangerous, and people aren't that bright sometimes.
Yeah.
You put those two things
God.
together, and you end up with bad things happening from time to time.
Oh yeah.
There shouldn't be. I don't understand. You should completely understand.
Oh, let's talk about. I want to look at some of this stuff about the
Yeah.
this aliens on the moon thing. So iron core moon doesn't revolve. Tidal. Oh, one of the things, this article that you sent me, they said some of the stuff is just wrong, and I'm
But
open
it's in
to
the
the.
internet.
It's on the internet. It's real. Of course, this everything we say is true too. As well, actually, we try to be truthful. We try to be open-minded here.
Yeah.
Now there are
We
lots of lights. They do see lots of lights on the moon, and we don't have good explanations for what's going on with that.
They're campfires.
They are campfires. So that's true. How the moon was created.
Is there
Basically,
enough air? Is there enough air on the moon? There's no air on the moon. You can't have a campfire because there's no oxygen for the flame to burn, right?
do you know that for sure? Have you been there? No, apparently not.
Everything's a lie that we've
Everything's
heard.
a lie.
No, it's good. Don't even need a spacesuit.
Well, they they do talk about how the moon was created, and actually there's like competing theories for how the moon was created. There's like 3 or 4 of them. So that. Okay, that's true. How was the moon
I
created?
like the one where it was a piece of the Earth when they were molten, and it's acted like a barbell, and it spun off
and
a
it
big
spun
piece
around.
of it, and then it ended up
Well, there's that one, and
in
then
orbit.
it's another one where they it's like accretion, where all this stuff came together, and the Earth and the Moon sort of accreted together. And then there's I was just looking. I have a book
That's a weird
called
one.
Accretion.
That's a weird theory. Yeah.
Yeah, I grind it up. I actually
That
sort of
Bill, that's a lot of time to put that together.
what accretion?
Yeah, but if you figure if everything was molten, we still have molten center, we think, of the planet.
Of our
There's
planet, yeah, we have
volcanoes. There's
yeah.
volcanoes spewing in Hawaii, so I assume there's still molten lava
still
in the middle,
somewhere
trying to come out,
So they
spewing out every once in a while.
no, I don't see the picture, and I didn't mark it. The oops, is this it? So there's Whence the Moon. So this book is a little outdated, but rapidly spinning molten proto-Earth, where it spins off as a little ball, and then there's the the fission model, where it's the co-accretion. I guess they call that. No, the fission model. What does that mean? Oh, the fission model is the one where it spins off and the molten stuff comes off. That's the fission, like cellular fission.
That's
and
my
then there's
pet theory, yeah.
there's the intact capture model, where it's like it was just came in and was captured by the Earth. Now that's the one that I heard a lot about when I was younger, and I thought was sort of the thing. And then there's the
Well, it came
accretion.
close by, but it doesn't hit the Earth because it's centrifugal force. The Earth's pulling it in while it's trying to push out. That's why it stays in the same.
Yeah. So
you know,
they have
220,000 miles away or whatever.
So this book has 3 different models. It's the capture, the fission model, and the co-accretion model. The let's see, moon rocks are over 1 billion years older than Earth. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. The moon dust is 1 billion years older than the rocks. The moon dust is just blasted particles that are fused together. Both the rocks and the moon dust brought back are older than our sun and the entire solar system. I don't believe that. Moon dust was completely different.
Why not? Why don't you believe that?
I haven't seen any data. I don't believe that.
You did, scientists.
I just don't believe it. Screw it.
Scientists.
Screw it.
You just go to that. There's no way that's true.
No way that's true.
How
Screw
come?
that. I don't believe that. Don't tell me that.
'cause-
I have an open
'cause
mind.
there's
Shut
no
up.
paper written.
Shut up. Hey, the president of Stanford, which is a well-known neuroscientist, has been is under a bunch of his papers where they're saying that shit was made up. Cool.
Well, if you don't know, then you just fill in the
Just
blanks.
make it up.
Like
Just make it up.
Jurassic Park, where they used frog DNA. Oh yeah, that was just a movie.
I'm sure it was a movie. Are you sure? What are we got?
making a new Tyrannosaurus Rex from DNA? I think that'd be cool.
Did you see you're the one, you sent me that auction about the Tyrannosaurus Rex auction that was coming up with millions and millions.
Yeah,
and they pulled. Do you see they pulled the auction?
Yeah.
Did you see why? because
No.
they molded a bunch of extra bones and they from another Tyrannosaurus Rex
Oh,
thing. So
it's
so
a
it was,
hybrid.
yeah, it was something hinky going on with that.
So I
Hey,
don't need. So I could have it, but I wouldn't have to pay the millions of dollars. Can I get a discount? Because it's not
yeah,
the head's real, right?
I don't know. I don't know what they faked. I mean, the guy that authenticated it or something was sort of walking things back.
Bummer.
Oh, this fact in this article is very wrong. It says scientists have not found any other naturally occurring body in the entire universe, whatever that means, that exhibits these two characteristics.
Which two?
The moon's orbit is nearly a perfect circle. I don't know about that one. Not only does that, but the moon does not spin. One side, the same side, is always facing the Earth.
Right.
Um,
What other one? What other
uh,
one is total lock?
he said that so all the large moons of Jupiter and Saturn are tidally locked to the planet and have single
Are they?
face. Yeah, and Pluto and Charon are tidally locked to each other. So it's like no. So
Oh,
that's patently not true. But you
damn
know,
it.
what else do they think? I don't know. The aging things I think are questionable. The that's stuff. The tidally locked stuff. Okay. Um,
Oh, they all still say that there's
reacted like a
another moon
gong.
that's just like ours.
What's that?
That
What's just
is
like ours?
probably hollow too. Yeah, there's another one that's probably hollow. They didn't mention
Oh,
which one it was.
the Martian. They're saying the Martian moons are hollow.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
I don't know. You got to
How
go
many
there. You
moons
got to
does
check it out. What's that?
how many moons does Mars have?
Uh, Phobos and
Yes,
Deimos.
sir.
They're Phobos and
Just two.
Deimos, and they're small. They're small moons.
Smaller
The,
than ours?
oh yeah, they're tiny. They're just like captured asteroids. So that's it. The
Really?
tower and the shard are probably not real. Uh, they kept showing these things in that photos on the on that show, Aliens, Astronauts, Encounters. What are they called? I forget what they're called. They were basically
Do you believe that I mean, all those statements about how they've seen things, and do you not think that they saw anything, or what do you think?
who, the astronauts?
Yeah,
I think it's possible. There's that one astronaut I just picked up a few weeks ago. His
dog hair on my microphone.
biography. Don't pick your microphone.
Dog hair.
So they kept showing pictures of grabens on that show on the aliens and astronauts on the moon. And that's a tectonic feature caused by two parallel normal faults, which is due to volcanic activity. So there's lots of evidence of past volcanic activity on the moon, but it's billions of years, like 2 billion years ago.
So it doesn't have a molten center, you don't think?
No. And I was looking up, one of the things they were talking about is the density difference of the moon. And it's not a good explanation for the density difference. There is a lot less iron on the moon than there is on Earth, and Earth has a molten core. So that is an interesting.
Well, then that would kind of debunk it's spun off and it's just off the same body, and
Yeah.
spun off.
Well, they're
right?
saying that the density is
How would it be
equivalent to the Earth's mantle, and the iron is like sunk to the middle.
Okay.
So, but these answers will be answered when we get people to the moon and we start doing more scientific and geologic research. And we stopped 50 years ago. It's like it's right there. It's right there.
We're getting a slow start getting back into it, I can tell you
Yeah,
that.
Let's see how that goes.
You work really slow. It's hard to get good help. That's probably why.
No, it has something to do with the show. It's an interesting script. Take a bunch of stock footage, hammer it together, and you got a aliens and astronauts show. They did raise interesting questions, but I think they're exaggerating a lot of stuff. Hollow. The density difference is interesting. I'd like to see answers to that. They talked about reptilian aliens in the Zulu, saying that maybe the Denisovans are reptilians.
But it was kind of Denisovan was kind of interesting because it kind of fit in between.
Yeah,
they don't even have a real It's a DNA thing.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that. You sent me that little thing from that museum in Australia. Um,
Yeah.
so lights on the moon, it's cool. That's stuff that needs to be investigated. The shard and the tower, I don't think there's any photo evidence of that. Um, and they asked the question, you go, which is why he said NASA discovered disturbing information, which is why we have never returned to the moon. And it bugs me that we've taken so long to go to the moon. I mean, it's just like that was a big deal. I mean, it's our generation, or our not our generation, we were too young, but the previous generation went to the moon and then just walked away. So it was just like, oh, then we're not competing with the Russians anymore, so we're going to compete in like political war crap, like we're doing
Well, there's
now.
just too many problems here, they thought, probably. It's
What's
like, why are
that?
we spending money? We have too many problems here. They probably just felt like
What problems? Like what? Wait, we don't have any
political
money with
war.
war. A war. It's easy. It's easy not to.
Homelessness. I don't know. Homeless
Homelessness.
people living off the
Homelessness.
street.
Homelessness wasn't a problem in 1972 when we stopped going to the moon. We weren't at war
Yeah.
with anybody. We were
So now
getting
that
out of
we have
Vietnam.
Now
There
that
was
we have homelessness, we're sitting people.
yeah. Now that we've
Now that
gotten
we need a place to put them, so let's go
no,
back to the
yeah.
moon.
Now that we've created all these massive problems, we're going back to the moon. It's like 1975, 72 to 75 was a perfect time. It's like we weren't at war. What else were we? Or what we were doing? We weren't at war. We didn't have a homeless problem. Housing was affordable in the United States.
Yeah.
Oh my God! It was like the perfect time to look at For All Mankind, that TV show.
Yes.
Oh, and the thing is that show talks about helium-3, and I didn't look up anything or talk about that. Helium-3, they're talking about that being a major resource on the moon for like whatever fusion or something like that. That may be a very valuable resource on the moon. I don't know. I haven't looked a lot into it, but that's a major component of the science in that show For All Mankind. Look at that future in that show. Would you rather have that future where we're like racing with Russia to build bases on the moon and go to Mars and stuff like that? I want that future. And so what have we been doing for the last 50 years? Like space shuttle? What's the space? What did that do?
Space shuttle.
Space
I don't know
shuttle.
what we were trying to.
Space shuttle.
Yeah, we need to bring stuff to the space station and then come back. It was just
What was
now
the
they've got an
space
unmanned
station?
version of that.
Yeah, for
We've got
this.
an unmanned version. Yeah, with the
That
space station.
that
It's
thing
got
is
some
just
experiments.
That's no experiments. It's got like a telescope or a radio receiving equipment on it. It flips in orbit and then it just monitors crap for taking pictures and radio intercept crap. It's like a reusable spy satellite is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, they did mention
Yeah.
MK Jessup and bases on the moon. I have some of his stuff that was written in the 60s. We'll get into that in the next 10 years. Moon is a spaceship.
They'll find it.
So, and
The
then the
moon is a
races in
spaceship.
Atlanta, and they're saying all that stuff. So, Denisovians, which is interesting. And you sent that article from that museum in Australia. Few fossils, age range of 500,000 to 30,000 years ago. And they've only been able to make the distinction that they're a separate species, which I have trouble with. I'm not sure I agree with that. They say that Neanderthals are a separate species, but I'm not sure how to define. These are sort of soft terms. Define a species. If two people, different species, can get together and make babies, and then those babies can still make babies, I don't think you can say that they're a separate species. So I'm not.
What defines a species? I guess.
Species. Yeah, that's a good term. But my definition of species, I thought, and they make up these terms are made up by people. So a species is the species I thought was a thing a biological living thing that would
humanoidus.
anything. It could be an animal, be an insect,
Yeah,
be a
it's a
plant,
cat.
could be a
It's a
cat,
cat, but there's different kinds of cats,
could be
right?
anything. And it's like, but a species can only breed with itself to make more of the
Right,
same species.
right.
So if a
So,
Neanderthal and a Homo sapiens could breed and make a baby that was like, okay, if you have a horse and a donkey have sex, and the stork brings a baby to the horse and the donkey, it's a mule,
stork.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
A mule cannot breed, right? A mule cannot have sex with a horse or a donkey and have a baby.
What about a horse and a zebra? And didn't they
I
do that?
I think yeah they can, and I think there are I think there's like donkeys and zebras can breed and make a zonkey. I think I've seen a zonk. They call them zonkies. A donkey and a zebra could breed and make, but I don't know if it's
Donkey.
a zonkey may be sterile like a mule and not be able to. So that tells you that, or like let's stick with horse, and since I don't know what I'm talking about, stick with a horse and a donkey. Those are separate species. They cannot make a new baby, and that new baby can have sex with another mule and make mule babies. That's not going to happen. But they're suggesting that since Neanderthal DNA is in us, and they're saying that Denisovan DNA is in us, that the Denisovans and the Neanderthals, we could all get together and have sex and wiggy and have viable offspring. So based on my knowledge and training as a biologist, I wouldn't even say those were separate species. I would say they were separate populations. So do you say that like Chinese are a different species?
I would say a separate breed if you're talking
Well, I
about
mean, I used to have
people
this
or
argument.
pets.
I used to have
It's
this
a
argument.
breed of people, right? It's Cro-Magnon or
Well,
Neanderthal or
it's well, they're
it's a breed.
in biology
Yeah.
you would call it a different population. And I used to have this
Okay.
argument with this other scientist who was, I think he might have been Japanese American or Chinese American, and he insisted that he had a different race. So this is great.
Yeah, that.
So he's race, and he said
We
he
don't
was
use
like
race.
he used race, and it was like I don't and it was like that for him. And I think that was a cultural thing. That was a very sort of solid construct, like you would think about species, separate species. So he was using species and race interchangeably, and I was arguing to him that doesn't make any sense, and it's separate populations because we can all interbreed with each other. If you go to whatever country, and people have different morphology wherever you go in the world. There's these wonderful differences in the world populations, but we can all breed with each other and have viable babies that can go on to make babies. So it's like we're all the same species on the planet. All humans are the same species. So I'd say that was the same. But my 10 cents of ranting and raving on the Denisovians, I would not call Denisovians a separate species. But I think
We're
most
separate breed of human.
separate populations, just a different population. I mean, you look at the go to China, Chinese Han China. It's a separate population with distinct characteristics.
So a Labrador retriever and a poodle, and they intermix.
Dogs are the same species. Yeah, they're all the same species. Dogs, coyotes.
We're all the same species too.
Dogs, coyotes, and wolves.
Breeds.
Dogs, coyotes,
We're not
and
allowed to call people breeds.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. Dogs, coyotes, and wolves.
I'm just saying.
Dogs, coyotes, and wolves can interbreed. Did you know that? So it's like, but they're classified. Yes. They classified those as different species. I don't know about the viability of the young for dogs and
They're the
wolves.
canine. They're all canines, so there's all this.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm
they
not a
say,
scientist
well, but this is. I mean, but you're defining these things as you're going. Oh, it's a different
Yeah.
species. You go, not necessarily. Um, I mean, there's different.
Yeah.
I hate
Mhm.
anthropologists and
I'm still trying to figure it out. That's why you got that, because I'm like, okay, well, I wanted to see the history. I always hear about all these different types of pre-man or modern man, which
pre-man,
they call
pre-man.
Neanderthal modern man, which to me that's kind of weird, but I guess
Neanderthals
that's
is
they're on two
well,
legs.
yeah. Neanderthal. If
Yeah.
Neanderthals could breed with humans, with us, Homo sapiens sapiens, and create babies that could make more babies, they are not a separate species. They are, in my definition. I mean, there's anthropologists that are probably having head explosions and geneticists that
Mm,
are pooping their pants, but it just doesn't
mhm.
make any sense because if they, it's, but and I'm a very basic sort of my biology training is I've been trained by very old-fashioned um, scientists who sort of stuck to their definitions, and then everything, all as we see in these day and age, all the definitions change all the time. People just make up shit, like the
Yeah.
um, yeah, like we see. Well, and then it's just it's like well, and then the reason that you you want your research and you want your discoveries to be very exciting and very new, so people you push you push these agendas. And so by pushing this and saying, "Oh, it's a new species," is a lot more exciting. Like Neanderthals, different species. It's more exciting than saying, "Oh, it's just another human population." Like you know the
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
the
Yes.
whoever.
Don't mention any specific ones.
Well,
Okay,
you can
let's do
mention
it.
there's lots of distinct. You can look at they're very distinct populations, and I mean, Koreans are distinct from Japanese, and the Chinese are distinct, and there's characteristics. Um, I knew a guy that was a um, anthropology major, and he could look at a person, like an Asian person, and just by looking at him, say that person is Korean, and you say that person is Japanese. I said, well, how do you know this? He goes, well, it's because there's differences in the populations, and you can see those differences that sort of aggregate in a larger population. So he could look at a Chinese person and say that person is, Chinese Han. That person is Japan, and he's from, southern part of Japan, and that person is Korean. And you can do that. You can do that with Europeans too. You can look at so looking at the I can't even use it. That's sort of silly. But that has nothing to do with genetics. Looking at the World Cup today against the Netherlands, and you got all the Netherlands fans are running, doing that. And they're all wearing their orange or whatever it was, and all the men are skinny and tall. All the Norwegian men, not Norwegian, Danish men. And then you show the Americans. All the Americans are sort of like pudgy and fat. It's like
You can tell which is which.
which is what it's had nothing to do with genetics. It has everything to do with
Good
bad
living
diet.
is what that is. Lots of
Bad
fried
diet.
chicken.
Lots of fried chicken and
Yeah.
beer.
Instant macaroni and cheese.
Instant macaroni and cheese. Wonderful stuff. Anyway, so Denisovians, very interesting stuff. Very few fragments found. And it's interesting because I wouldn't say it's a new species. It's interesting because it is a separate, distinct human population, like the Neanderthals, like Cro-Magnon, or
Right.
whatever. So it's a fun thing. Very few stuff. They threw
Yeah.
out something in here that irritated
Well,
me.
they didn't find hardly any pieces of them.
No, just
And they're
teeth.
only named them that because that's the cave they were in. They don't
Yeah.
even have their own designation that is their designation in as
Yeah.
far as like Cro-Magnon or Neanderthal. That's just a name.
Yeah.
It didn't have a scientific. Well, I guess it would be this. I don't know if they're called scientific name or just a name.
Well, the Denisovians, but I mean, you got my
Yeah.
rant on species, genus, species, population crap, and
Had-
I like the
had to
story.
be said.
Yeah, had to be said by me. I like the story with the the Tibetan monk finding this jaw, was exploring a cave and found this jaw.
Yeah.
I mean, that was very cool. Very, very nice.
It was a neat story.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
good stuff.
kind of nice because it's
Yeah.
learned something. That was
Yeah,
interesting.
I loved anthropology when I was in as an undergrad. I contemplated actually doing an anthropology degree until I met um, a handful of the top anthropologists in the world, and then that turned me off to it. And they're all smart, accomplished men. They're all white men, of course. And
Of course.
but all they did was argue about stuff. I mean, unlimited
Well,
evidence.
if when you read these articles, they say it could be between 2 and 500,000 years.
Oh, and it gets worse.
They,
Anthropologists
yeah.
anthropologists arguing about stuff, they'll like have one little detail or fact and they just lose their minds over it. They just absolutely lose their minds over it. And it's like these guys that had done, fantastic work, like it's the guy that discovered Lucy. And I mean, but they just argue about stuff. They're just like shouting at each other about the most trivial crap, which I guess is part of the scientific method. I don't know. So we're over an hour.
We better wrap it up. I got to go get my dog's picture taken with Santa Claus.
Oh, that's very sad.
That's what it's come to.
All right.
All right, you ready? All
Yep.
right. Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Alien Probe Podcast. We welcome comments, questions, or requests to alienprobepodcast@gmail.com. Visit us on Facebook. Check us out on our website, alienprobe.net. Twitter and Instagram at alienprobepod. Like and subscribe at YouTube. Check out Alien Probe Podcast. It'll pop right to the top. Thanks to our senior producer, Robert Anthony, now Hollywood Robert Anthony. And of course, Dr. Bill. Thanks again.
Okay. Watch the skies and Flat Earth next week.
Flat Earth number 3.
All
Shelley
right.
has put out there, so we'll check it out.
Looking
Thank
forward
you.
to it. All right. Bye-bye.